I started with what I knew: carrots, oranges. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, I just started the ones that I was familiar with. And even along the line, I was referred to someone who would then make my meals for me. So at that point, whenever I reach out to the person to make my meals would always arrive at my place very late, and it was not convenient for me because that means I would starve from morning till whenever the food arrives. So the food would arrive in the afternoon, and I said to myself, this cannot continue, So, and this was me, at that point where I just needed to do something for myself. So I started learning how to make my meals, started learning the diet, understanding it, reading about it, doing a lot of research online, magazines, books. I did a lot of things. I even bought cookbooks inclusive. So that same month, which was the month where I changed my diet from what I was used to the vegetarian diet, was the same month my period came. Yes, my period came that month. So I'm back. All right, so I was thinking about the time when I changed my diet, which was March 2019. I will never forget. And like I said, I changed my diet, ate what I knew, and that same month my period came. So I would explain why I said my period came. So the previous years, when I started noticing that my period was irregular, I would see my period maybe 4 to 6 times in a year, and that was very worrisome, like I already shared. So, and talking about the entire journey regarding PCOS and how I've been consulting with different doctors, nutritionists, and the rest of them, and trying out the new diet, which was an alternative at that point. So I'd tried out medications, supplements, and a whole lot of things, and that was one thing that I had never done before. So that year, which was 2019, and that was when I changed. So I started my period that year, January. It didn't come in February, then it came in March. So March, I was on my way back to Nigeria from Atlanta, and that was when it showed up. I was shocked. Number one, dealing with an issue like this, you don't even know when this is going to come. You have no idea, because I don't use any of those apps that women use. I would manually write my own in my journal to know the last date it showed up, then to anticipate whenever it feels like showing up again. So at this time, I would have extras with me in my purse, in my bag, anywhere, just in case it shows up. And then it showed up, on my way back to Nigeria, and I was like, okay. The first thing that came out from my mouth was, "Thank you, Jesus." I was like, "Thank you, Jesus." So this came, and it didn't just show up; it came, and I was like, "Okay, I think this is working." So March, it came. March, April, May. As at May, I was already getting tired. So at that point, I already discovered how to manage my food, manage myself, and I also started realizing that I needed to cut out buying some things from the grocery store. So that included milk. It also included fresh herbs. So I stopped buying fresh herbs and milk from the grocery store. So remember, I said I'm lactose intolerant. So when I'm talking about milk, I'm not talking about skimmed milk or full milk or evaporated or condensed milk. I'm talking about plant milk. So I started taking plant milk, like oat milk, almond, cashew milk, and the rest of them. So at that time, I was buying oat milk from the store, and when I open it up, I use it for breakfast. In 2 days, it's gone. So it's spoiled, and that was not economically, that was not sustainable. So I needed to look for a solution, and my solution was now how to make my own milk. So I started making my own milk in my kitchen. Yes. So so 2019, it was a remarkable year for me, not just for the fact that I took those steps that I took, but it was the fact that I saw changes. I was seeing results, and this results just the results also made me realize that I was doing something, because I was being intentional in ensuring that I live a healthy life. So 2019 was when I now delved fully into gardening, because I was like, I was tired of buying mint from the store, and when I'm ready to use it, it's bad already. So I started investing in gardening. I went fully into gardening. My space, my rented space, I had like fresh herbs in potted plants. So herbs, vegetables in potted plants. And at that time, I even had strawberries. Yes, I had strawberries. I got the plant from a gardener in Jos. She sent it to me in Lagos, and it only sprouted once. It gave me, the fruits, and after that, I didn't see anything again. So, but then again, I enjoyed it because I had access to fresh herbs, fresh vegetables. I had something that I can always add to my meals, and my garden was even growing. It was expanding because I was just going haywire on that. Having to discover that yes, I can do this. So the whole thing, the entire experience now pushed me more into gardening, and I'm emphasizing it because it was just life changing for me. So for those who knew where I was at that time, they would come, oh my God, Tosin, you have so much in your garden. How are you maintaining it? How are you doing this? Why would I not maintain the garden? Because the garden is feeding me. The garden is actually, helping me, and also helping me to sustain, and also balance my life, and my food. Yes. So 2019, like I said, was life changing for me. So the diet thing worked. Yes. So the diet change worked. It worked. Aside from eating plant-based meals, learning how to make those meals, learning how to preserve my food, learning how to make them from scratch, switching from groundnut oil to olive oil to avocado oil, switching from full cream milk to dairy milk, switching from white rice to brown rice, white bread to brown bread, changing proteins, because as at that time I already stopped eating meat. So when it also showed up in my result that I needed to cut out meat, I was not even surprised. I didn't even miss meat at all. I didn't miss meat. So all of that happened, and it was something that I embraced so much. I just embraced it. I became accountable for myself. I also faced challenges, doing all of this, because it wasn't easy switching from what I knew to something different, and I had challenges. So I think I fell out after 3 months, came back again. I would go back into it again. Where did I stop? How can I get back into it? So from juicing to smoothies to making my own muffins to making my own ice cream. Yes, I made my own ice cream with avocado, banana, coconut milk. I make my own ice cream. I make my own muffins. I make my own cake. And that's to show you that I was not missing anything. After I even changed my diet, I was making my own meals based on my own terms, based on my own using the recipes that I found online, following my diet, religiously. I was like 80%, but 20% for some time I would fall out and then get back into it. So that's to explain to you that even when you start a new diet and you feel that you stopped it and you're feeling guilty, you don't want to come back, you can always come back to it. It's not really easy, maintaining such diets, in the period in your life. So it's something that you can always come back to. So if you're watching this video, I'm here, encouraging you to please get back into it. Yes. So I made a lot of mistakes even trying to balance with this new diet, whether I'm vegan or whether I'm vegetarian or I've been a plant-based, or I was sure somewhere in between. Sometimes I could feel pescatarian, sometimes I could feel plant-based. Sometimes I could feel vegetarian. Sometimes I could feel lacto ovo, vegetarian, or I could feel lacto vegetarian or ovo vegetarian. It could be something in that feeling. But at the end of the day, just remember that you have your health to put in front. Yep. So the diet changed my life. So let's move forward to, because I have my notes here, so I have to just follow and ensure that I don't miss anything. The diet obviously changed. It also helped my hormones, and like I said, my period became regular in 2019 after I changed the diet. So I think for 2019 I only missed it for 2 times, which was February before I started the diet, and I think July in the middle of the diet. So it became regular afterwards. So it became regular when I started, it became regular even afterwards. But that year was just life-changing compared to the previous years when I would see it 4 times or 6 times in a year. So now let's move to 2020. Another year. 2020. All right, so welcome back again, and this is me, Tosin, sharing my PCOS and fibroid story. So now we are in the year 2020. So 2020 was that year when everything changed globally. Nobody saw what was coming, or even if they did, nobody knew it was going to be that tough. So now this is me sharing my PCOS and fibroid story because I had the life-changing experience in 2019 compared to the fact that I've been looking for solution to what I was going through, prior to 2019. So as at that time, 2017 was when I had my first hormonal test, and since then I've just been consistent with doing my checkup, hormonal tests, every like once in a year or twice in a year. So 2020 I went for my checkup and I was at the lab. This was during the lockdown period, and at that time, we could go out, and all of that. So I went to the lab for a checkup, and that was when it was discovered that I had fibroids. And I'm sorry, I'm laughing again. It was not funny. I'm sorry. I'm laughing. I'm sorry. I'm laughing. I'm sorry. But when I was told that I had fibroids, it was not funny at all. It was the point where I was like, kilo to deba into your long. Sorry, I'm laughing. But then again, that was how I felt. I was like, why me? Again, why me? I thought the nurse was joking. In short, I said, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm sorry. But I didn't take that report seriously. I didn't take it seriously. I just felt it was not for me. And I felt that my worst fear also happened, because my worst fear was the fact that fibroids, I've heard stories, and when I heard that word fibroids, like, it's not for me. So I left the lab, and I went for another test again, another period. I went for another test, and it became prominent that yes, I had fibroids. So I then shared again with Remy at that time that, hey, this is what I'm going through, this is what is going on. And it was then Remy then told me to speak with Adenike Oyetunde Lawal. And I spoke with Adenike. So at that time, myself and Adenike were neighbors. So when I spoke with Adenike Oyetunde, she then shared her own story, told me everything, and our fear gripped me. Like, I was scared, guys. I was scared. I beg, let me take a break. Just thinking about it right now, like thinking about it and thinking about where my head was at that time was not something. It was not funny. It was not funny at all, because it was my worst fear. And the fact that I had always heard people talk about this thing, it just made things even worse for me, because I was like, oh boy, it'd be like, say, I don't enter. And even at that point again, so I was also keeping faith that fibroid is on my portion. It's on my portion. I was keeping faith. So I was just somewhere in between reality and fantasy, because I didn't want to own up to the fact that it was in my body, because managing the PCOS thing, dealing with food, health change, diet change, it was a lot. It was a lot. So it wasn't a case where I was interested in, getting any information or hearing anything again that would add more to what was going on in my body. So that came at that time, and I didn't care if I went to the gynecologist she met, and I had my first appointment with him December 2020. So after my first appointment, he checked the size of the fibroids. They were in smaller shapes. He described everything, and at that point I was feeling pains. I was so uncomfortable. Hey God, I was so uncomfortable, not because I was at the doctor's office, but prior to that time I was feeling uncomfortable, heavy bleeding, during the time of the month. It was just uncomfortable feelings that I cannot even explain at this point. So at that time, of course, when I had the consultation, there were options on what to do, either to remove it or to just wait when you are ready to get pregnant, or so when you're ready to have babies, of course. And so all of that happened. 2021, it was me still doing my healthy lifestyle, healthy living with Tosin thing, doing everything, and at the end of the day, I still had it at the back of my head that's another thing again has come up and all. And let me just fast forward to 2023. 2023 was another life-changing year for me. So between 2020 and 2023, I had fears, I had a lot of questions. I had support from my family, my mom, my parents, my mom, my dad, my siblings, support from colleagues, Remy, Nike, Kayla, Anita, and in between taking it out and not taking it out, in between hearing a different reports from other hospitals that I did. Where did you see fibroids? Do you want me to give you fibroids? You don't have fibroids? And I was like, oh, okay, I don't have fibroids. Okay, so that I can live my life. Yippee, It was, but at the end of the day, that was not the case. So, sharing all of this is just to make you understand that it was not just with one lab, not with one doctor, or not with one consultant. I was going everywhere I could go to. If you refer me, I would just need to check it out. And also I was seeing different doctors at different hospitals, going to different labs just to, check myself out. So let's just fast forward to 2023. And at this point, of course, so in the whole midst of dealing with PCOS and also having to know that there's fibroids in the body, whenever I go, oh, congratulations, when are we expecting what? Because my tummy was big, so people would think that I was pregnant, and that didn't even sit well with me. At the point I just ignored, like it's more or less like you're saying it but I'm not getting it. So whenever you tell me, oh Tosin, you look fatter, I wouldn't say anything. Oh Tosin, you look slimmer, I won't say anything. Oh Tosin, your tummy looks bigger, are you pregnant, how many months, when are we expecting? I won't say anything, because so what is going on with the people is just different. So in my own case, dealing with PCOS and fibroids was just something overwhelming, and not everybody would get it. Either you're a man or a woman or a boy or girl or anything, you would not just get the fact that I was dealing with something that I can't just sit you down and start telling you what is going on with my body. So my body just had my body had a mind of its own. It just chooses to do whatever I needed to do at its own time. And this was also me managing it with food, managing it with everything I could because of the PCOS thing. So it was PCOS, then fibroids, And I would never take it on with anybody who would describe me as fat or describe my tummy as big. I'll just know it at the back of my head that they don't get it and they don't know what I'm going through, and all of that. So that aside, and yes, so I've already talked about the 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 journey of managing PCOS and fibroids. So I'll be back with the fibroids surgery. I'll be back.